Hello everyone, welcome to the Saildust 2 YouTube channel, the second channel to Saildust, which is me, the person speaking right now. I am Saildust. And I have had Zelda on my mind for quite a bit. Echoes of Wisdom just recently came out. I beat it, I made a video on it, talking about my thoughts, because I really wanted to get my thoughts out there, because I'm a big Zelda fan, so I talked about it. And just ever since then, I have been thinking about Zelda, and specifically 3D Zelda, because I love 3D Zelda. Everyone loves 3D Zelda. I love 2D Zelda a lot, but 3D Zelda just hits different, you know? It just hits, it's just special, you know? It's like, I think some of the 2D games are better than even, like, the majority of the 3D games design-wise, but like I still find myself coming back to the 3D games more. I can play them more often. I feel like I get 2D Zelda'd out maybe a bit more. I'm not super sure why. Maybe it's just the I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been thinking about 3D Zelda because Tears of the Kingdom's already over well over a year old. Like, it's like a year and, like, what, 5 months? I'm recording this in October. So we still have a ways to get to the next 3D Zelda. I'm thinking, like, you know, 2027 or something, maybe. That's, like, my hopeful guess. That'll be 10 years after Breath of the Wild, which depresses me. But, yeah, you know, 2027, 2028, that's when I can see us getting... I don't know, they said that they finished Tears of the Kingdom in, like, 2020... When did it come out? Last year. Yeah, they said they finished it in, like, 2022, so I'm thinking, like, maybe they were working on it between 2022 and 2023, because they're like, oh, we wanted to test it a lot for a year, which is still very questionable. I don't see... Like, I don't know. I guess it makes sense, like, a whole year of testing a game with something as intricate as Tears of the Kingdom's systems are, you know, it was like, I don't know, it was that game system has a lot. But I've been thinking about 3D Zelda, maybe 2027 if they started working on the next one, and after they technically finished, quote-unquote technically finished Tears of the Kingdom, then that would be 5 years to 2027, but yeah, it's new hardware, stuff like that. Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I want to talk about the future of 3D Zelda because, god damn, it's been on my mind. The main thing is that I think there are only... okay, let me rephrase this. There are two ways that the 3D Zelda series can go from here. They're pretty vague ways, but there are only 3 ways. Or did I say 3? I meant 2. Sorry. Sorry. There are only 2 pretty vague ways that it can go from here. And that is making a third Wild Era game. So with the same Zelda and Link, the same world as Breath of the Wild, or a completely new iteration of Hyrule and Link. In Zelda, obviously. Just a new iteration in general. I think Echoes of Wisdom was sort of that, even though it did... Like, the map itself took heavy inspiration from Link to the Past. I think it was like a very heavily developed, I guess, like, version of the Link to the Past map. And that was cool. I did like it. I was a little worried about it, but no, it was a lot more different and, I guess, iterated on. I think, you know, it probably takes place much farther after Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds. I don't know, I kind of see it as, like, the third game. It's like the threequel of A Link Between Blank, A Link to the Past, Link Between Worlds. Anyway, 3D Zelda. Sorry, I'm getting off track. We see Tears of the Kingdom was the second game to be iterated on a previous game, first being Majora's Mask. I guess Phantom Hourglass 2, but that was canonically wise, it was a sequel, but like asset wise and console wise, it definitely was like its own new game, being on the DS versus the GameCube. Majora's Mask and Tears of the Kingdom were on the same console that the predecessor was, but you know, same assets, same everything, just different story. So what are the chances of them making another Tears game, or Breath game, or Wild Era game, Champion Era game? I guess I think Champion Era is like a better way to call like these series of games, because like Tears of the Kingdom doesn't have Wild in the title, but they both have Champion. So getting off track again, sorry. So I don't. Okay, so either a new Wild Era game or a new iteration, and I think I honestly, both are equally possible. Aonuma did state that they have like they have squeezed that Hyrule dry. They have squeezed the Wild Era Hyrule dry, and I can't help but I very much agree. I think if we were to get a new game in that Hyrule, I think I would scream very loudly, and I would just be very, very upset. But luckily, I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong, pretty sure they said that they don't want to use that same Hyrule again, which I'm very happy about. So obviously, the obvious answer is to go and to take Link and Zelda to a different land, you know, a different place, in the Wild Era world, you know, similar to Termina, maybe less like creepy and like questionable of where its place is in the like the universe, you know. Is it a parallel universe? Is it what? Where is Termina? Nobody knows. But they could go onto just a different kingdom or something. You know, that's not something Zelda really experiments with, but it's something that I've been thinking about since Tears came out. It's like, where else could they go? You know, but or at least before Tears came out, it was like, will this be in this Hyrule, or will they go somewhere else? And you know, they quickly said this is gonna be the same Hyrule. So we were like, okay, they instead of going somewhere else, they just expanded that Hyrule, which I think was a decent idea for making new content within that, you know, area. But obviously the next game, if they were to do New Hyrule, and on one hand, I think that's possible because of how popular and how successful the Wild Era games are. And Breath of the Wild is still one of the most popular games on the Switch. It's one of the most selling games, and still, even after Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild is selling more consistently. I mean, Tears sold like 10 million in like a weekend, but that's because it was the sequel to Breath of the Wild, you know. But it, like, you know, it has a more divisive reaction from the Zelda community, and but both games are the most successful Zelda games ever, like straight up. You know, they're the most successful. I don't know, Tears of the King or Twilight Princess might be better than one of them. I'm not really sure on that, but I'm pretty sure, if I'm correct, Breath and Tears are the most successful Zelda games. Tears is at least the highest grossing Zelda game, and that's no question in my mind. So it would make sense that, oh, we do another game because people already love these iterations of Zelda and Link, and I'm straight along with them. Zelda, Wild Era Zelda might be my favorite Zelda game. My favorite iteration of Zelda. Sorry. She's absolutely delightful. She's wonderful. She's a wonderful Zelda. I absolutely love her. So it's like, it makes sense why they would want to do that, and I can see them, like, you know, their mindset being, people love this iteration of them. People will want to see, and a lot of people, that's their only, like, that's the only Zelda and Link that they know. A lot of people started with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and a lot of people's first experiences were with the Wild Era, and so I can see them being like, hey, to keep continuing the story of this Link and Zelda, but at the same time, I feel like Tears of the Kingdom was supposed to be this nice and like nice little bow on this Link and Zelda. And when they say that they've exhausted what they can do in that Hyrule, part of me also thinks that they mean they've exhausted what they can do with, like, story-wise with this Link and Zelda. And I do agree with that. I agree with the Hyrule part. I disagree with the Link and Zelda part. I think they have so much more opportunity for stories. But I think that what worries me with that is that they would feel restricted to following the Breath of the Wild formula again. Because I feel like with Tears of the Kingdom, they felt obligated to continue and to stick with that Breath of the Wild formula with the 100 plus shrines, the 4 terminal-based smaller dungeons than what the series is used to, and the very open nature of it. So that is the thing that worries me with it, even though I do love that Zelda and Link a lot. That's my main worry with that, and I feel like I said, Tears of the Kingdom was supposed to be that nice little bow on that Link and Zelda. And I mean, Echoes of Wisdom was already, it's already a new iteration of Link and Zelda. It's, you know, it wasn't the Link's Awakening version of Link. That was one of my theories when Echoes was announced. And no, it was just a new iteration. It was, while a very similar land to Link's Link Between Worlds and Link's Awakening, or Link Between Worlds and Link to the Past, it was still a new iteration, so they're definitely not afraid to do that, I don't think. And I'm not sure how the sales numbers are doing for Echoes, but I assume they've probably already started working on the next 3D, like they've probably been working on the next 3D Zelda no matter what. So I would guess that their mindset would be, let's just do a new iteration, and then Echoes of Wisdom is also a new iteration, so I don't think they're gonna like go back if Echoes of Wisdom somehow does bad. I don't think it will. Link's Awakening did good. The Skyward Sword HD also did good, so I don't think they're thinking about that too much. But so that's mostly my worries with a new Wild Era game. With the idea of them doing a new iteration, I like that idea a lot more, because I mean, one, like, it's gonna be on a new console. I kind of like the idea of the Wild Era or the Champion Era kind of ending with the Switch. You know, I like the Switch console having its own designated era for Zelda. It's kind of nice, you know. And then when the new Zelda comes out, it'll be like, especially if it comes out in 2027, it'll be like, that'll be the end. The Wild Era had a solid 10 years. You know, it didn't have many games. It had Breath, it had Age of Calamity, and it had Tears of the Kingdom. And I like the idea of them doing a new thing, because that's what Zelda's all about. You know, every game iterates and it has a new version of Hyrule, of this world. And you know, I'm a big timeline nut personally. I love the Zelda lore, and it seems like with Echoes of Wisdom, I have a lot more hope, because Aonuma did come out and say in the developer interview, you know, we are gonna take, or they didn't say we are going to take, but with Echoes they were like, we're taking the lore much more seriously. You know, we had that boot camp. We want our fans to think and be excited about the lore and be able to connect it to the past of Hyrule, and that was their main issue with Tears of the Kingdom. And I was really mad about that part with Tears of the Kingdom for the longest time, but now that Echoes is out and now that they've said that, I have a lot more hope in that area. But a new iteration, it gives them so much more freedom. You know, it gives them freedom, it gives them the chance to do a lot more with the Zelda formula, because I don't think the Breath and Tears formula, I don't think the shrines the many shrines and small amount of terminal-based dungeons, I don't think that's the future for 3D Zelda. I know some people would disagree and be like, no, man, that's 3D Zelda now. That is the new formula. That is the new Ocarina of Time formula. And I can't agree with that, because then Echoes, I feel like, would have taken that formula as well, you know? I mean, the Rifts kind of were the shrines, but not really. You know, Echoes was much more in line with the classic 3D Zelda and much more structured, but still had a lot of openness to it and player expression. And I can't say how much I love Echoes of Wisdom for that. It feels like such a great step in the right direction, and something that I hope 3D Zelda will go and iterate on. Maybe even get a bit more classic, maybe get more items, classic Zelda items, but regardless, a new iteration will let them iterate more, you know? I don't want them to feel restricted to the Wild Era games, you know? Make a new engine, you know? Make a new Link and Zelda, make something really creative and different. You know, that was my biggest issue, and a lot of people's biggest issue with Tears, is that it felt too similar to Breath of the Wild, when Echoes of Wisdom was a brand new experience. It was so different and new to the Zelda formula, and a new 3D Zelda iteration has the chance to do that same thing, but for 3D Zelda, and that's so exciting. I want to see a new Link. Ideally for me, they would kind of bring it back to sort of the roots, but like still have that openness. Basically make it a 3D Echoes of Wisdom. Maybe bring back a bit more classic Zelda traditions. Maybe make the bottles a bit more necessary for the game. I like that they brought them back in Echoes, but I didn't like how they were only for fairies. I thought that was kind of a wasted opportunity. But, you know, you can only... Beggars can't be choosers, essentially. And that's... I really hope that they take this opportunity to iterate more and perfect this open-air design philosophy from the Wild Era. And because I think Echoes of Wisdom was a fantastic step in the right direction. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a perfect formula. It wasn't a perfect mix, but it was enough for me. It was more than enough after Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know, maybe my thoughts would be a little bit more negative if Tears of the Kingdom wasn't so disappointing for myself. But regardless of whether or not that's true, I absolutely loved it, and I want the next 3D Zelda to do something similar just for the 3D series, because the 3D series, like I said in the beginning of this video, is just so special to me. It's so special and unique, and I think as much as people don't like to admit it, as much as people miss the classic 3D Zelda games, I think the one thing that this series, like the Zelda series in general, has in spades is uniqueness, you know? Like, even though Tears was pretty similar to Breath of the Wild, the abilities and the mechanics were so unique to Tears of the Kingdom that I don't think it's like the same experience, you know? Like, at most it was a unique expansion to Breath of the Wild, and Echoes of Wisdom was even more so experimental and different. It was unique, and I think every 3D Zelda game has the opportunity to be very unique from one another, even if I think they have the chance to do that while still also following, you know, the classic Zelda formula. You know, maybe not to a T, like an Echoes of Wisdom, still being open, but still offering very unique experiences. And I think a new 3D iteration, a new iteration of Link, Zelda, Hyrule would be the perfect opportunity to do that. And I really hope they do that. But also, if they do another Wild Era, I hope they won't feel restricted to the Breath of the Wild formula, or I guess format, with the shrines and the dungeons, and you can go to the boss very early on, like immediately. I don't think that's inherently a very bad thing. I'm just also the memories, like have the story take place in like during the game, please. Echoes of Wisdom, I think, was so much better in that regard. You know, also have, if we are going to Hyrule, like if it is a new iteration and it's gonna take place in Hyrule, please just have it not be apocalyptic. Have it be like have it be a current, like, non-destroyed Hyrule. I want more settlements. I want, like, cities, industrialize the Hyrule. Have it be like Spirit Tracks where there's trains. Don't have it... Maybe don't have it be like Legend of Korra, where it's, like, in the Victorian industrialization era. But, you know, just have it feel like, you know, not melancholic and apocalyptic. And I'm so excited to see where 3D Zelda goes. And if it does end up being a Wild Air game, it's not the worst thing in the world. I hope they would have the chance to iterate on it a bit more, maybe make it even more different than Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Have us go somewhere else, you know, have us go to... If they want to even have more Zonai stuff in there, have us time travel back in time to the actual Zonai civilization in the sky. You know, like a full world, like a Hyrule-sized world in the sky where the Zonai are actually alive, because even in Tears, they were like an ancient, died-out civilization. I don't know. I wanted to come on and talk about this because I've been thinking about this so much, and oh god, it's already at 22 minutes. Gee, okay, I'm gonna end this now. Thank you for watching. Go check out my Echoes of Wisdom review. I think I put a lot of work into that. I didn't say like all the obvious things like a lot of people were saying, like the UI sucks, the performance, like I kind of just gave my general thoughts. That I hope are a bit more unique than all the millions of reviews that are out there. That's probably why it's not doing so good. Yeah, go check that out and hit the subscribe button. I've been thinking a lot about Zelda, but I also plan a lot more content on my main channel, and this channel is mostly just for me to spur random shit at you guys. And, yeah, thanks for watching, and bye.